Welcome everybody to a new night with social economic networkers. This is the project in network marketing that is changing the lives of thousands of people around the world. And our mission is to reach 1 million families by the year 2020. So this presentation tonight or daytime, if you're watching it online, is working toward the mission of impacting the lives of 1 million families. So we are doing this every week to bring this opportunity to you. And now, in this century that we are living, it's harder to find jobs that we want, to get the pay that we want, to, to be financially free. And in this economic model that we have with social economic networkers, we are changing the status quo. We are changing the status quo from oppression, from limits, from lack of finances to a life of freedom, to a life where you can do anything that you want, because here we know that there are no limitations. So tonight I want to welcome you and congratulate you for giving yourself the opportunity of being here. And I welcome you to extend gratitude to the person who invited you, because this person thought of you. This person saw something in you, and this person wanted to give you an opportunity of life. So as soon as this presentation ends, go and thank the person who invited you. Tonight, I have the honor of introducing an amazing entrepreneur, a young person. Her name is Baena, who in 1999 migrated from Colombia with her mom and grew up in this country, in the US. And she went to UTO, became a certified teacher. She taught for 5 years. And then in the middle of a financial crisis, this opportunity was presented to her. And she has embraced it ever since. And she went from being a full-time teacher to a full-time entrepreneur before she was 30. How amazing that is. So before we start, I want to welcome you to open your heart and open your mind, because the presentation that you're going to hear is something that you don't hear in schools, in university, in college. Is a new information. So we need to honor it and respect the project and also our amazing speaker. So with that, Diana, welcome, and share with us how this project changed your life and how it can change the lives of everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me to be here tonight. It's a pleasure. Well, I'm going to tell a little bit of my story. I'm not going to take too long sharing it, but basically, like you mentioned, I was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia. I came here when I was 9 years old. I came with my mother, and growing up, I always saw her struggle to make ends meet. She was a single mother. She had me here, and she had my older sister in Colombia who had to stay behind. And all her life, she worked so hard. She worked 2 jobs. She had to work in factories. I mean, she had to do everything in order to give my sister and I an opportunity to have a different life from what she did. So growing up, I've been working since I was pretty much 12 years old. My mom started working here in, I don't know where you live, but here in Texas, we have something called a bazaar, which is kind of like a shopping center for Hispanic people. And she had her own natural medicine store. And since that wasn't enough, we used to go door to door to check people's blood pressure and recommend supplements and all this. And I was like her little secretary. And I did this throughout my teenage years, and I knew I wanted to do something different. I knew I wanted to not necessarily make better decisions, but have a different lifestyle than I had growing up. And I knew I was going to be a mom someday, and I wanted to give my children a different childhood than what I had. Because looking back, I didn't have a childhood. I had to work from early on. So when I was a teenager, I knew what I had to do, and I was an excellent student. I was committed to my schoolwork because I knew I needed to go to college. I knew I needed to make ends meet. And so when I decided to go to college, I did all the paperwork. I thought I wanted to be a nurse because when I was in high school, I was in the medical field. So once I got to UTA and I got in the nursing program, I realized, oh my goodness, this is not what I want to do. This is not my passion. I want to help others, but nursing is not, it's not what I was called for. So I switched majors. I was just taking my basics until I figure out what it was exactly that I wanted to do and how I was going to give back to the community, because that's always been my main thing. I've always, everything that I do is always thinking of ways that I can give back and be a blessing to others. So one day I got in touch with my 5th grade teacher, the very first teacher I had here in Texas. And I met up with her, we had breakfast, and she told me, well, why don't you become a teacher? And I thought, a teacher? I was like, you know what? Like, I never really thought about it. And I took a class called Sociology of Education, and I saw the need for teachers. And I thought, you know what? This is how I'm going to give back. I've always enjoyed working with kids. This is what I want to do. But I was already halfway through college. I was like, I don't want to change majors. I don't want to start all over again. So what do I do? And she said, well, just finish your bachelor's in sociology, social psychology, and then do the alternative certification for teaching. So that's exactly what I did. I graduated, I did my certification, I started as a substitute teacher. I loved it. I got certified. I taught for 5 years. I taught kinder, 2nd and 3rd grade. And I absolutely loved it. But the problem was that I wasn't making enough money. I became a single mom when I was 23 years old, my first year of teaching. My daughter was a preemie, so she was in the hospital for quite a long time. And as you know, even though I had medical insurance, my bills were not covered. So that's basically where my financial struggles began. I was young, my first year teaching. My daughter, I had to pay all these medical bills for my daughter. I stayed 12 weeks, and then I had to go back to work. And my daughter had just come home from the hospital, so I had to leave her to go to work, and that broke my heart. Not only that, but at 15 months, I had to put her in daycare because I didn't have anybody to watch her. So if you're a mommy, you know how expensive daycare can be, especially the younger your child is. So I wasn't making enough. I became a single mom right when she turned 1 year old, and I had most of the financial responsibilities. So I got in a lot of debt. I got in a lot of credit card debt. I was working countless hours. I had to take her to work with me on the weekends or after school. And money just wasn't enough. I also bought my first house right when I turned 24. And that was a blessing, but it was also a lot of financial struggle, because being a homeowner and being a single mom does not always click. So I thought, well, I like working with kids, but I'm not making enough as a teacher. And if you know the way it works when you're a teacher, you don't get promoted easily unless you have a master's degree. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to get my master's. I got in more debt because now I had to get student loans to pay for my master's degree in school counseling. And as I was halfway through the program, again, I was a single mom full-time. I was working full-time as a teacher, and I was going to school full-time to get my master's degree. So I was exhausted. I was a zombie, as you can say. And my mom started with this project about a year before I did. And she would come home and she would tell me about the meetings and the people she met and all this. And she would invite me. And I said, no. I was like, I don't have time for this. Like, you do your thing. I do my thing. I'm going to school. I have the baby. I just can't do it. I said, I don't have time for it. I said, I support you, but I don't want anything to do with it. And so one time when the convention came along in Atlanta, Georgia, a couple of years ago, she said, hey, they're going to do a recognition because of my achievement, because I've grown so much in the company. And this, and I had no idea what network marketing was. I had no idea what For Life was. I knew a little bit about the products because my daughter started taking them when she was getting sick often. But I didn't know anything about the business, and I didn't want to hear anything about it. And so she tricked me. She said, you know, they're going to do like this big recognition for me. Can you go with me? And I said, okay. I was like, I guess I'll take 3 days off from work and I'll go with you. So I remember I got there on the second day of the convention because I didn't want to take all the days off. And I get there and there's like a group of people yelling and screaming and all, you know, everything's going on. And I believe Bianca Lisenby was on the stage, but we were sitting very far back. Again, I had no idea who she was. I thought, oh my gosh, like, what did I get myself into? This is just a bunch of crazy people. So I was just sitting there like kind of upset. I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm here and this and that. So like the next day when they asked for all the international diamonds to go across the stage, that was the big recognition my mom was going to get, right? And I missed it because I was parking the car outside. So as soon as she walked the stage, which I thought it was going to be more, I missed it because I was parking the car. And I thought, really, like, I came here for that and this and that. So anyways, By the third day, and when the convention was over, I was already so convinced about this company. And again, I didn't know anything about how the business worked, but I saw the service aspect of it. When they talked about the great things that our plantons have done to help others, and I saw what For Life Foundation does, that spoke to me. That was the answer to my prayers, because I pray so much and I ask God, show me the way. I need something better. I know I'm stuck in the classroom. I know like I can do more. I said, I can feel it. I've always had this desire in me to help others. And when I saw the potential that this company has to help others, I said, okay, there you go. There's my answered prayer. So when the convention was over, I looked at my mom and I said, you know what? I said, I am retiring teaching and I want to do this full time. I said, I have no idea what this is. I said, but I'm going to learn along the way, and this is going to be my last year teaching. And that was in October. So I went back to work on Monday, and I told my coworkers, I said, you know what, this is going to be my last year teaching. I am going to retire, and I'm going to start this new project and this and that. And they kind of already knew about the products, because I always used to have my vitamin C and my Rio Vida on my desk because I didn't want to get sick. And so they were like, oh, with that company? And I said, yeah. They're like, oh, so you're going to go to sales? I was like, no, it's not sales. It's more than that. But they didn't get it. And they were like, no, you're not going to quit your job. That's just crazy. You're not thinking right. You know, this is like your safe place. And a lot of my family members call me crazy too, because I was one of the very few who have gone to college. So to them, that was like a huge accomplishment. And I was throwing away my entire career just to go sell products. And so I said, no, this is what I'm going to do. March came around, I turned in my resignation letter, and I talked to the principal, and he said, yeah, I agree with you. You're destined for more. We wish you the best. He said, I'm going to go to one of your conferences one day, and I'm going to have to pay to see you talk and this and that. So it was very rewarding that they saw that potential in me. But yeah, so June 3rd came along, and I turned in my classroom keys, and I've been For Life 100% ever since. So the project that I'm going to present to you guys was the same project that was presented to me, and the one that absolutely, completely, 100% changed my life for the best. Because as we were saying before this presentation started, I get to be a mom 100% of the time. I get to be an entrepreneur 100% of the time. I get to have my daughter with me, show her a great example, show her what the company is about. She's already the biggest fan when it comes to the products. So I'm going to show you guys what Socio-Economic Workers is. This amazing, amazing team of entrepreneurs that have completely changed my life. In here, you have personal growth, which was one of my biggest and most favorite parts of this 2.5 years that I've been in the project. If you had met me a couple of years ago, you would have seen that I was a completely introvert person. I was shy. That's why I work with kids. It was so easier talking to kids rather than talking to adults. But like at staff meetings and stuff like that, I would never raise my hand. I would never, ever talk in public. That was my biggest fear. My mom came to live with me when I bought my house, and she loved having karaoke parties like all the time. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Every time people would come over to my house, I would just go to the room and just ignore them completely, because I was such an introvert. I was very antisocial. And when I got presented with this opportunity, and I started going to the meetings and I started getting connected to the system, my whole outlook on life changed. And I'm still an introvert, but I can also be an extrovert, and I enjoy being around people. And I've talked in front of hundreds of people in our events, at our rallies, and now I'm like a total social butterfly. So that's part of that personal growth, facing your fears, becoming a better person. And it's never ending. I feel like I'm growing more and more each time with this project. Also, the social contribution, and which ultimately lead to financial freedom, which is something that I feel financial freedom is different for everybody. But to me personally, is just being able to have enough to live comfortably, to be free, not to have a boss, to make my own schedule, to spend time with my daughter, to take vacations whenever I want. Just that freedom of not being tied down to a company, not being tied down to a boss. That's to me financial freedom. And obviously that I'm part of the residual income. So those socio-economic transitions, we know that things change, times have changed. Go there. We had the agricultural era, which was back then where our ancestors, our grandparents, they owned the land, they had the power. Then the first and second revolution came along, and I call this kind of where modern slavery began, because this is where we learned to be tied down to a boss. This is where the factories came along, and that's where people started learning, oh, well, you have to be a professional in order to make the money, and then you have to work for someone, and you make the one above rich, and you are pretty much stuck if you don't have an education. And then the third revolution became, which is the internet, which completely revolutionized everything as we know it, and led to the fourth revolution, which is our artificial intelligence that we're seeing now. Especially one of the biggest examples I give my people is when we go to the supermarket, we don't have cashiers anymore. We only have machines, right? The toll tax, we don't need the people in the toll booth anymore. You just need a sticker, you stop, you go, and they charge your credit card, or they send you the bill home. We see thousands and thousands of jobs being replaced every single day by machines. We are seeing the number of stores that are closing because people are being replaced. I love Amazon, don't get me wrong. I order everything through Prime, but unfortunately that has taken so many jobs from people, not only here in the United States, but all over the world. So a lot of these jobs that people think are secure, in a couple of years, they're not gonna exist anymore. And we see that more and more every day. So the ways of generating income have changed. And one of the things that people don't really think about is the future, because as we know, about 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So if I'm living paycheck to paycheck, there's no way that my family finances are secure. I know how I'm going to pay the rent this month, but I don't know how I'm going to pay next month. So I'm not even thinking about 5 years from now. And so what happens? Life happens, an illness, family member passes away, a child gets sick, and then we are faced with all these burdens, and we don't think about it until it actually happens. So most of our people, they don't know how they're gonna be financially stable in the next couple of years. Their family finances are not secure. And the saddest part for me is that they're not going to be able to retire at the age of 60. My generation is not going to be able to retire at the age of 60 if we keep doing the things that we're doing. My mom, the baby boomer generation, is not going to be able to retire at 60 has she not joined this project. We see this all the time at Walmart too, when we see all our elderly working. Right? They're like 80 years old, they can barely walk, they can barely sit, and they still have to work because they don't make enough. They couldn't, even with their retirement money, they don't make enough, so they have to depend on someone else, or they have to continue working at an age where they should be enjoying life because they work so hard all their lives for what? So that they can get to retirement age and not being able to retire because they don't have the money to do so. They don't have the money to live the life they wish they had lived. So we have the 20th century distribution model and the 21st century distribution model, which is where we are right now. In the 20th century, we had a factory that creates the product just like everything else, just like everything we have. This chair, a mouse, a computer. The factory takes 36%. We have a wholesaler, warehouse, store, and a promotion, which they all take a chunk of it. And us as a consumer, we get absolutely nothing in return. On the contrary, we pay way more for a product because they need to pay all these other people in order for the product to get to us. I was just at the movies earlier with my daughter before I came here, and just a little pack of popcorn with juice, it was like $12 for a little bitty kid's box. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is really overpriced. We hadn't been to the movies in a while, so I was like, oh. And then, but with the 21st century distribution model, obviously we still have a factory that creates the product, but because we don't need promotion, we don't need a store, we don't need a warehouse, we don't need a wholesaler, the entrepreneur is able to get up to 64% back, which I don't know to you, but that sounds a much, much better model to me than the 20th century. So what's offered by this new platform of generating income? We have the, baby goes it over there. We have the linear income, which is 30, 40 years until we make it to retirement. If we make it to retirement, like I said, especially my generation, if we keep doing things the way that we're doing it, we're not going to be able to retire. There's not going to be Social Security in a couple of years. There's not going to be Medicaid. There's not going to be any of those government programs. You have a fixed schedule. Myself as a teacher, I knew the time that I was going in, but I didn't know the time I was leaving. Again, I had to take work home. I had to go work on the weekends. I never knew exactly when I was going to be done working. Actually, I was never done working. Teachers' jobs are never done. There's always so much work to do that you never feel like you fully completed everything. And your income is limited. I always tell people at the beginning of the year when you start teaching, they literally give you a chart and they tell you how much you are worth, how much your salary is going to be based on your years of teaching. So if you had 2 years of teaching, that was going to be your salary, 3 years your salary, and it increases about like $200 a year per year of experience. But then your health insurance seems to increase every month as well. So to me, that was a really like slap in the face, because I could have been the best teacher in the world, or I could have been the worst teacher possible, that I was still going to get paid the same, because it was only based on my years of experience, not on how good I was or how many hours I worked on, how many nights I stayed at school or anything like that. So the district pretty much told me what I was worth, and I hated it, absolutely hated it, because no matter how much I worked, money was never enough. But now with the residual income, we have the financial freedom. If we work 2 to 4 years, 2 years, we can reach that financial independence. Again, that's different for everybody depending on what your dreams and your goals are. 1 to 2 hours a day. I knew I wanted to retire teaching in a couple of months, so I obviously gave more than 2 hours a day, which is completely worth it, because I was able to quit my full-time job in just a couple of months. So, but it goes to show that flexibility. You get to pick your own pace. You don't have a boss telling you how fast you need to work or what you need to get done. This is your business. This is your organization. It's up to you how fast you want to go. And obviously my favorite part is that my income is unlimited. It keeps growing and growing and growing. I don't have anyone telling me what's my worth. I make my own worth. I make my own income based on my dreams. For Life is the company that we represent. We see David and Bianca Linsonby on the screen, which these are amazing, amazing human beings. They are, I haven't had the privilege to talk to them one-on-one, but just at the convention, they passed right near me. And I was like, oh, you can just feel their energy, like such a positive, amazing energy. And you can see that when you see them on stage, when you see them in a video, you can see how wonderful of a heart they have. And now with our new CEO, Danny Lee, who's taken this company to places that we've never imagined. I know there's been a lot of changes lately, and I just get so excited because that's just launching us to being even better than we were in the last 20 years. So I'm completely excited about this new decade that we're starting with For Life. Growing has never been this easy. We have literally the best products in the market. I mean, I can't even tell you which one's my favorite. I start telling people about the product. I'm like, oh yeah, this one's my favorite, but this one's my favorite too. And this one's my favorite. So I love all of them. If you check my kitchen, if you open one of the cabinets, it's nothing but our For Life products. We're part of the biggest industries, as we know. We have our new detox. We have our transformation package, which has been amazing. And a lot of people think that's just for weight loss, but it's not. That has been my biggest game changer in the last few years. The only one I don't take is a fat burner, but the protein, the energy, the right start, all of that has helped me in my fitness journey, because to me, it was the opposite. I wanted to gain weight, and I've always tried everything to gain weight, and it can never happen. And now that I've been working out consistently for the last year and a half, I've seen so many changes, and it's all thanks to this amazing products. My mother also, we're going on 75 pounds in a year and a half, and it's all thanks to obviously physical activity, but also our amazing line of products for transformation, which here they are. We also have our skincare products. I cannot tell you how much I love our facial creams. I had, since I was little, I've always had a lot of issues with my skin, from like eczema to skin being very dry on my face. And I tried all kinds of products. I spent so much money growing up trying to fix this issue. And the only line of products that works on my skin is the Inumi products. I cannot tell you how much money I used to spend on moisturizers just to feel my skin hydrated. And ever since I started trying this, it's been such a blessing that I don't have to worry about my skin getting so dry in the winter time. Now it's perfect. I absolutely love it. We also have our shampoo, our body wash, our lotion, which is amazing because my daughter is allergic to mosquitoes and it protects it against this. So like every morning I just cover her up in our body lotion and she's completely protected against mosquitoes and all the bugs. You remember?
I didn't get to get mine.
Yeah, because she got bit really bad one time and she got a little staph infection in her leg, which with transfer factors, we cure that, right? We take care of it. Okay, so how to generate income quickly. We have the Rapid Rewards bonus from customer orders, where you get 25% back of anything above your first 100 LPs. So if you have 1,000 LPs under your code, you get $250 back from our company to your account. This is just the Rapid Rewards. Yeah, you're Hugo, you're Rio Vida. This is just your Rapid Rewards bonus for new associates. You have, it kind of shows you ways to save money as you buy in bundles, so to speak. So if you have the builder pack, you save $140, and that's about 400 LPs. They give you 25%, so you get $100 of a bonus, and then you can see the rest of the selections there as well. So this is one of my favorite things, and my team has been so excited about it since it started on October 1st of last year. The fixed bonus, because we're the only company in network marketing that offers a fixed bonus. So that just goes to show how much this company cares about us and how much it wants to protect us and give us that financial freedom that we all seek. So in the fixed bonus, we're going to pretend that little dude at the top is myself. I am in the loyalty program with 100 LPs, which is products that I consume, that my daughter consumes, very easy to make. And I invite 3 people to join the company, and they're also in the loyalty program with 100 LPs. So just by having 3 people under me in the loyalty program with 100 LPs each, I get a fixed bonus of $50 every month. Here, let me move the screen here so I can see it better. Oh, going back. Okay. So those 3 friends of mine are going to do the same thing. They're going to recommend the product to someone else, and they're going to join the loyalty program with 100 LPs each. So now I have 9 active members in my group, and now my bonus is going to be of $200 month after month instead of $50. And because I did such a great job about this, and people love the product, and they're going to tell people about it, right, Peanut? Okay. They're going to tell people about it. Now I have 27 active members in my organization, all in the loyalty program with 100 LPs. So now I get a fixed bonus of $800. This is completely life-changing because, especially for us who we have, or in my team, I have a lot of stay-at-home moms. So by doing this business just from home and getting a bonus of $800 a month, that is huge for them. That is absolutely amazing. Or people who are working 2-3 jobs, they're able to leave one of their jobs and just focus on this. And those $800 help them pay their either car payment or insurance or part of their mortgage. I mean, especially here in Texas where mortgages are not that expensive. So just having that fixed bonus month after month simply by recommending the product and having people join our loyalty program, it's absolutely something amazing that our company has. It's okay, baby, just leave it like that. Our Great Escape trip. I was actually able to take our very first Great Escape trip last October. You remember the big boat? We went on this exact ship in October. This is the ones that went in May, I believe, of last year. We went in October, and it was such a blast. We had 7 days. They paid for our airfare from here to Florida and then back, in the 7 days in the cruise ship. I mean, it was the best vacations ever. I got to take my daughter with me. It was 10 of our family members who went because most of my family is a 4-life family. So we all got to take a vacation together. my goodness, the shows, the activities we did, the people we got to meet, it was all the places we had to see, all the food we got to eat. It was absolutely, well, right, one of the best vacations that we've taken. She loved it. It was her first time on a cruise.
What did we saw Mickey Mouse?
This one we saw the dolphin. Remember we went swimming
Crystal.
Crystal, the dolphin. Yeah, we went swimming with the dolphins in Mexico, so that was her favorite memory from our cruise ship. So our company offers excellent incentive trips. We have one coming up in May, when the biggest cruise ship in the world, and then we have another one in October, I believe, to Cabo San Lucas, which is, I'm looking forward to going there because I visited Cabo a couple of years ago, and I said I definitely want to go back. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited. So the fact that I get to go again and that the company pays everything is even better, that I don't have to take it out of my pocket. So how to generate income? These are the residual bonuses. Basically, this is a model where if I find 6 people and I train them well, I show them the vision, I connect them to the system, they consume about 250 LPs every month. Now I have 1,500 points under me. The company pays me 2% for the first 100 LPs and then 2% anything after that. So I'm generating a check of about $30 month after month after month. Now, when I tell people this, they're like, well, $30, that's really nothing. Like, are you kidding me? For 6 people, and then I only get $30. And I tell people, I say, well, those are the best $30 you're ever going to earn, because this is the foundation to your legacy, to your business. I mean, for you to start a business with just 250 LPs and then being able to get money back, like that's the most amazing business model I've ever seen. If you're on the street and you find $30 on the ground, you're going to feel like the luckiest person that day. I said, so the fact that you're earning this $30 are going to be like the best income you've ever earned, because those 6 people that you got into the project, that you show them the vision, those 6 people are going to do the same exact thing that you show them to do. And now we're talking about you having 36 people under your code, which with 250 LPs, now you have 9,000 points that you're moving. Now the company pays you 25% for the first 100 LPs and then 5% for anything after that. So now we're talking about $1,170 plus $30, $1,200 a month. And this is without the fixed bonus that we talked about and the other rapid rewards bonuses that I mentioned earlier. So with just $1,200 a month, people are already, they can pay their mortgage with that. They can pay their cars. They can, quit their second job. And then by them doing the exact same thing that you show those first 6 people, now you have 216 people under you, generating about 54,000 points, and now the company pays you 5% for the first 100 LPs and then 12% anything after that. So now we're generating 4,168 plus 1,170 plus 30. This is way more than I made being a teacher for 5 years. I'm not kidding. I used to make way less than that, working more than 80 hours a week, having a college degree, and having a master's degree. So by the time you see these numbers, you're like, okay, I'm able to quit my job and do this 100% of the time. Same thing for your 4th level, they duplicate. Now we're talking about generating income of over $27,000 month after month after month after month. Simply because you connected 6 people to the business, you show them the vision, you show them what we're about, and it just goes from there. So those $30 can become something bigger than you can ever imagine. Who will guide me and how would I gain the knowledge? We have our amazing educational system, which is another thing that I love about our company, is how much they invest in educating us into making network marketing a career. Because as you guys know, our industry doesn't always have the best reputation. People always think it's a pyramid scheme and is all this lack of knowledge. Our company has an amazing educational system to really make us entrepreneurs and to make us experts in this industry, so that we're able to carry on that message to others and kind of remove that negative connotation that we have in network marketing. We have obviously our SEN team, Socio-Economic networkers with more than 18 years of experience. We're in over 100 countries, right, baby? We have books, we have audios, we have videos, we have our brand new 4 Live University, completely online training. So the company gives us all the resources that we need to be successful. So how do you start your business? You can become a preferred customer where you get quality products for the same price that we do, but it doesn't generate an income. You simply get a discount. You can become a distributor where you have linear income. You can get the product and then sell it for more, make a profit. Or you can become an entrepreneur like all of us here and start creating that residual income, which is going to lead to your financial freedom and to making a difference, not only in your life, but for future generations. So what to do with time, money, and health? I mean, there's really absolutely no limits. I've always been a huge dreamer. I've always had goals ever since I was a little girl. Like I mentioned earlier, I've always knew I wanted to do something different and I want to help others in a bigger way. So this company gives me that opportunity to go and make my dreams come true, to go and help not only 25 kids that I had in a classroom, but to go out there and help thousands and thousands and thousands of children who are neglected, who are abused, who are hungry. I get to be part of that. I get to be part of the change. All because I made the decision of joining this team and actually giving it my all and made a commitment to myself, made a commitment to my daughter that she would never have to go through what I went through growing up, what my mom went through. So we are changing generations. I had a better childhood than my mom, but now my daughter's going to get to have a better childhood than her grandma and then her mom and then so on and so forth. We are literally changing generations. We are giving them health. We are giving them time because I get to create memories. I get to be present in her life, which is my biggest thing right now. Just watching her grow up and being present there. And I get to show her that so that when she grows up, she'll get to show that to her kids. And, you know, it just goes from there. It's just changing the world one person at a time. So if you're listening to this presentation for the first time, I want to thank you and I want to welcome you to the Socio-Economic Change. We are a great group of entrepreneurs and I am absolutely delighted that you guys gave me a chance to share this opportunity here tonight.
Thank you so much, Diana. The presentation was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. I know I talk really fast, so.
My God, I have. And if you want, you can stop sharing your screen or you can continue sharing. I'm really impressed with your story. You and I have to talk on a different day because
yeah, absolutely.
My experience is so similar to your experience.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
It's similar. So everybody, the people who are listening to the presentation, once again, I congratulate you for giving yourself the opportunity of being here. For the people who are watching the presentation in YouTube, also, give yourself an applause for being here. And
yes,
also,
absolutely.
Go back to the person who invited you, because as I mentioned at the beginning, somebody invited you to hear this opportunity to know more about the new economy. This is information that we don't hear in school, we don't hear in university. It's something new, it's a new profession. And here you have somebody who knows the information, knows how to become an entrepreneur, how to become an expert in network marketing. So you can go and ask all the questions that you have. So don't leave the person alone. Go and ask the questions. So before we end, I want to know if anybody has a quick question to ask Diana.
Yes, I would like to
that she can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious about the initial process that you went through when you were beginning, and I was wondering, what was the first couple months like for you? What was your time that you were spending on business? What was it really like?
Well, the first couple of months were all about learning. Like I said, I had no idea what network marketing was. I grew up with my mom doing this type of business, but I was never involved in it. All I would do was take the products. That's all I would really do. So for starters, I'm a huge nerd. So if I'm going to take a big decision, I do all kinds of research on it. And so I started educating myself on what network marketing was. I bought all kinds of books. I bought audiobooks. I started going to the meetings. I started telling my coworkers about it. So the first couple of months, it was more about a learning process. And in this industry, it's a continuous learning. I feel like it's like in any other career. You never really stop learning. You keep growing more and more and more. But because I had no idea what I was getting myself into, the first couple of months were more about doing research and figuring out how I was going to do things. fortunately, I had a great group of mentors that showed me the way that my mom was already in the business. So I feel like that also made it not necessarily easier for me, but it gave me a better outline of where I was heading and what the business was like. And then once I felt a little bit more comfortable, then that's when I started talking to people, and I started recruiting, and I started creating my team and all that. So I started with the people that I was working with. I started with the teachers. I was in the teacher's lounge, and I would start drinking my energy. Like I said, I had my vitamin C in my desk. So people slowly started asking questions and being interested in what I was doing. So that's basically what the first couple of months were. It was mostly about educating myself and learning what this career was about.
Okay. I would like to ask another aspect of that. So after you went through that learning cycle, and I know you said you decided in October, and then by June you decided to go full-time, or you went full-time. For you, how many people, or how big was your network, or, how fast was it for you going to build up towards that financial freedom?
I was making enough to be able to quit my full-time job. It's very different for everybody because it's all based on your structure. So just because I did a couple of months doesn't mean that it's going to be the same for everyone else. It just kind of depends on how your structure set up. It also has a lot to do. At the beginning, I took a pay cut check, honestly. But I knew I had to do that because if I was given 100% of my time to this project, it was going to grow even faster. So I took a risk, and I took a slightly pay cut in order to do this 100% of the time, and it really paid off. I mean, within months, I was already back on making what I was making before, and even a little bit more. So, yeah, it all kind of depends on your situation, honestly. Some people have the blessing of being stay-at-home moms, and they have someone there to support them while they work on this project, which is amazing. It's okay, baby. Some of us have to work while doing this project, but most people start part-time doing this until you're good enough to quit your full-time job.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have any last questions? Okay, that we don't. So thank you so much, Diana, again. This is precious information for all of us. This is going to be online. Everybody, again, go reach the person who invited you. The person who invited you has all the information you need. So don't hesitate to ask questions. This project can give you the opportunity to become financially free in 2 to 5 years, and even less. We have stories of so many leaders who achieve financial freedom in less time. Absolutely. So I ask you this question. How would you like to see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I wish I had my vision board here. I have it at the office. I see myself traveling the world with this little one right here. I would love to be involved in the For Life Foundation in order to help children around the world because, again, that's always been my purpose. Children have always been my passion. And children and animals, as you can see, my boyfriend and I are working on creating our own organization to help animals, to open our own type of shelter. So that's our goal, that in 5 years, we're actually going to be able to start the process to have our ranch, which is going to be called Zoe, in honor of our dog, a place for animals. So in 5 years, I see myself being even more financially independent, traveling the world with this little one, creating more memories, and already putting my dreams to work.
That's so beautiful. Diana, and I know everybody has a dream. Make your dream big. And
absolutely. Dream big, 100%.
Yeah, never stop dreaming. No, the limitations of this economy are not your limitation. Here you have an opportunity to change your life.
Exactly.
Thank you everybody for being here. We will have our next presentation next week, so be up on the lookout for that. Thank you, Diana, and everybody have a beautiful night or day, wherever you are in the world.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.